I love connecting with people. I love meeting new people. And so through that comes the opportunity of business. When I first got started, I had, really no experience, no knowledge.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. And so partnering with somebody who had that experience now allows for me to start getting my educational background and experience, right, and knowledge. And now I'm escalating in my knowledge and experience. And so what I'm working now towards is doing the same for others.
Hey everyone, I'm Olivia and I'm here today in Austin, Texas with Juan, one of our top real estate investors, and he's ready to share his journey, how he became a real estate investor himself. Juan, what a pleasure to have you here with us today. Please introduce yourself and how long have you been a real estate investor?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Olivia. My name is Juan Padilla, and I've been investing in real estate since 2019.
So you mentioned that you've been a real estate investor since 2019. So let's go back in time and see how was your first deal.
Yeah, so my first deal was actually partnering with another investor and actually doing a wholesale deal. I was able to follow up with the lead and actually close the contract. And then we had to go and now find a buyer. Well, being new, I didn't have a huge buyer's list. So I had to really depend on someone else that had a lot more experience than I did. And so we partnered together on actually finding a buyer together and then, of course, splitting the proceeds.
Okay, and with that particular deal, what was the challenge that you found with that one?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is that it was in a smaller town. So obviously, the smaller town, a lot less investors are investing in that area.
Which town was it?
This was in San Angelo. Because of that, we were trying to find, of course, investor buyers. I was trying to find on my own. I'm really trying to figure out how I can actually dispo this deal or sell the deal, if you will, to an investor buyer. Just couldn't, really find anybody. So I started again working with our network and trying to find someone that has a lot more experience, has a bigger buyers list, and is able to help me through the process of finding a buyer.
And with that particular deal, how much money did you make?
Yeah, so in that deal, I think we made close to about 10,000. Yes.
What was the aha moment throughout your first deal? Was it putting the house under contract or getting that first check?
Yeah, that first check definitely gets you, to open up your eyes to what's possible in this real estate investing world. I actually went and physically got that check at the title company. So walking out of it, I just kept looking at it and I just kept saying to myself, man, and the time that it took really wasn't in comparison to, working 40 hours a week. It was really, really a good deal to be able to work with somebody and be able to partner and still get a good profit.
You made $10,000 for that particular deal. If you were working at your job, how long did it take you to be able to make that money?
Oh yeah, it'd be over a month, easy.
Well, with your journey as a real estate investor and having another career, how was the transition between the job that you were doing before?
Yeah, so before I became a real estate investor, I was actually working in the information technology space for over 27 years. Yeah, so what I did is I started doing part-time real estate investing while still working full-time. So I would work on the evening hours, during my lunch breaks, on the weekends. I would take advantage of actually any spare time that I had to work on the real estate business.
How did you find the discipline? Because I know it's challenging because you have a full-time job and you have a family and add on another career. How were you able to do the transition?
One of the biggest things that helped was that I was actually working from home. So that was a huge help because what that did is it brought me back my drive time. But really the driving force is, the need and the desire to achieve my ultimate goal, and that is time freedom.
And I think having that willpower is great, but I think in finding the right network and the support and see all your colleagues doing it, and then you're not alone. Is your family being supportive of you with the journey? When you told your family, hey, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to become a full-time entrepreneur,
Right.
How was the reaction, the transition?
The initial conversation, of course, with my wife was, one of kind of a shock, a surprise. She knew that at some point, I'd want to, do this full time. But ultimately, my wife has been very amazing, very supportive.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's great. And throughout the journey, what was your fear?
The biggest fear was always just, do I have enough? Am I going to make it to be able to provide, for my family?
And would you quit your job earlier today, or would you do exactly the same?
I think I would probably do it exactly the same. I think the timing was just right when I did it.
We can never buy time back. We
Yes.
can learn and grow, but we can never buy any minute back. It doesn't matter how much money we have.
Yes, that's
And
right.
because I know that, I'm like, I cannot waste any more time.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
cannot get any more distracted.
I love that quote that says, fortune favors the brave. And I think that's exactly what you did.
So Juan, throughout the process, you mentioned a little bit, what keep you motivated? Is it because the way you grew up, the way you grew up with your parents working, on the heat and doing the minimum wage activity? Does that motivate you to do things differently than what your parents did back then? Where is the transition there?
Yeah, definitely. My focus is to do things differently than what my parents did, for sure. But, as I've learned what real estate investing can do for my family, for my generations, it really has given us the opportunity to now raise our children differently so that our grandchildren, great grandchildren, and everyone else after that has a completely different mindset.
And when I say anyone can become a real estate investor, regardless where they come from, regardless how much money they have on their bank account or their credit score, unfortunately, the majority of the people does not know the opportunity that we are talking about. So I really hope to change as many people's life, because real estate has that power. But I do believe we are changing our generation for sure. And I try to say to as many people as possible, just go and explore, go learn a little bit,
Right.
regardless of which stage you are in your
Right.
career. Is that part of what keep you motivated as well?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does. I mean, I want my children to know that they have a completely different future in front of them if they just choose it. And like you just mentioned, there's a lot of things that even they didn't learn, in school, right? And so it's something that we need to kind of rewire them and reprogram their mindset, And I'm really proud of my boys because they think that way. They think in the manner of an entrepreneur. They think in the manner of a leader. And so those are the qualities that are going to really help them to dive into, real estate investing, right? And be able to leverage that. And so that's what they've been learning, and that's what they've been now adapting to. So I'm really excited about their future.
I love the fact that we are changing our generation or their generation and their friends, because my kids come in with their friends now, they're asking me questions, and I'm like, and they're like, oh no, please don't ask my mom because she never stopped talking. So it's one of those things that is starting, like, they see it, and they're like, wait, I want to do it too. So it's beautiful to see the process.
Right. It is.
To see our lives change, because we don't only change our life, we change everyone that is around us as well.
That's right. It's very
so
true.
that's what I like the most.
Right.
And what moment in your life throughout the process did you realize real estate actually was really going to change your life?
It was definitely that first paycheck. That first paycheck on doing it on a part-time basis. I knew that there was real power, that there was a real opportunity right here.
And have you found out what are you really good at it?
Yeah, so I really love to network. I love connecting with people. I love meeting new people. And so through that comes the opportunity of business. When I first got started, I had, really no experience, no knowledge.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. And so partnering with somebody who had that experience now allows for me to start getting my educational background and experience, right, and knowledge. And now I'm escalating in my knowledge and experience. And so what I'm working now towards is doing the same for others.
I think it is a way to give back to the community, because when we have a brand new investor who is coming in eager to learn, wanted to have to do everything, but it still need us to partner with them to guide them throughout the process.
Right.
is a way to give it back to the
So true.
community. So
So
I
true.
do love that. Do you remember what was your aha moment that you said, "Wow, this is it. I love this topic." Do you remember some of the strategy that Phil was teaching us? Do you remember what was yours?
Wow. I mean, I remember the when he put it up on the board and showed us each strategy, right? And then how much you could potentially make in each one of these strategies. I think that's what really opened up my eyes to the possibility of what real estate investing can do for my family.
So let's talk about this deal that you have right now. How did you find this deal?
Yeah, so I got it through pay per click.
Is that your marketing strategies that you're using?
That is my main lead generation marketing strategy that I'm using. Yes.
So you got this lead, and then what was the process negotiating this particular deal?
Yeah. So the process was really, talking with the seller, and really finding out their why. Building rapport, finding out what is the reason that they're looking to sell, and really trying to identify, what is their timing. What is, we call them the four columns, right? The
Yeah.
motivation, the timing, the price, and the condition of the property, right? And so we went through all of that, identifying all of those points. The property was in pretty good shape. She already had a tenant in the property as well, so that was a little bit of a challenge as well, right? As you know, when you have a tenant, you have to consider a lot of the laws that are going on in the state with regards to landlord and leases and all of that stuff. So we were able to get the actual lease converted over to the buyer, and then take that on because the lease was only expiring like 2 months after
Okay.
we did the closing of that deal.
And what was the challenge with this particular deal?
Well, the biggest challenge was finding a buyer that was going to be okay with taking on that lease for 2 months after the closing, because you're running a risk, right?
Yes.
Sometimes that person might decide, hey, you know what? I'm just going to squat. I'm just going to stay
And
here.
then you got evict.
Yeah, and then you got to go through the eviction process, and so that's a big risk for an investor. And a lot of time, the investors are just like, no, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. And how much money did you make with that particular deal?
Yeah, this one we made about 35,000.
And how long since the day that they contact you and then the closing? How long was the process?
Yeah, that one was about 30 days about 35 days it took us from the moment that we initiated contact to the moment we got it under contract to the moment we actually started marketing and getting it out to the buyers, and then finally closing and going through that whole entire process. Right.
So that's not bad. That's not bad.
Right. Makes up for several months of working in a W-2, right?
Yes, exactly. If you were working on your full time before you became a real estate investor,
Yeah.
how long would that take for you to make 35K?
Yeah, 3-4 months. You think about the time that we're spending there in those 3-4 months, you're talking your life. You're talking, several hours of working for somebody else, several hours you're spending behind a wheel and being in traffic and going crazy. And you just made that in, 30 days.
So you went to college.
No, actually, I did not. Life was actually a little bit sped up for me. We ended up, my wife and I actually ended up becoming pregnant very young. And so for me, there wasn't really a
You
big
had
opportunity.
a lot of diapers to buy.
I had to really start moving. I had to start moving and providing for my family. And I didn't have really the time and the opportunity to be able to go to college. So I had to do something quick.
If you look back from when you used to have your full-time job,
Yeah.
now that you are a full-time real estate investor, how would you compare your lifestyle from back then?
Yeah, so it's definitely, provided us opportunities that, we didn't have before. A lot of it is the flexibility of time. There's a lot of things that I can, sometimes do during the day that I wasn't able to do before, where like I can manage my time now,
Yeah.
where not someone else is telling me how to manage my time, right? In my W-2, I got all these deadlines, all these projects I have to meet, and it's on their time, right? I have to meet their time frame. And I supported a global company, which meant that sometimes I had to work 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening to support another area of the world. So guess what? A lot of that was taking away time from my family.
You can't compare.
Right.
Having your own
Yes.
control of your own life on your own
Exactly.
calendar versus
Right.
someone else tell you when and where
Right.
to arrive there
Exactly.
and deciding the days. It is very frustrating. You
Yes.
cannot even compare.
Right.
So, what do you do for fun with your family today versus what you used to do before? So, what is fun for you today?
Yeah. So fun for me is traveling. First and foremost, we've been able to travel to some places that we've never been able to travel to before. Because a lot of it, it's just, when you're working, on a W-2 job, you got all these projects and things to do. And then on top of that, you got a family, right? You got things to do with them. You got, sports and all of those things that you're doing. So like now trying to find the time, right? Trying to find the resources. But now we've had the opportunity to just, have some trips done that we haven't had a
Like
chance to do
where?
before.
And I think being a parent,
Mhm.
if I look back, my family could not afford
That's right.
enough of this. So we
Right.
are breaking barriers.
That's
We
right.
are bringing things to our life, to our generation
Yeah.
that will continue to grow because now your kid knows how to spend quality time with their family
Right.
as they continue on their path. I don't think our family could afford or could even have access to the things that we have access today. Do you think your family is proud of you today?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I've heard it said from them many times. I love the fact that we are open to share that with each other. Just as much as my wife has told me how much she's proud of me, as how much I've been proud of her, because she decided to go back to school after this whole time. Here's another thing, another advantage, right? Another benefit, if you will, that's come out of this
Yeah.
opportunity is it allowed for my wife to go back to school now, because now she said, okay, now it's an opportunity for me to do something for myself that I've been always wanting to do. And so she's going back and she's going to get her bachelor's, and she's going to get her master's, and so that's something that she desired to do. So
That's
um,
amazing.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. So I'm proud of her for doing that.
So that's really, really good.
Yes.
You're saying your family's proud of you. Are you proud of yourself?
Yes, I am. I'm proud of the fact that I did something that I set out to do, and that was my first goal, was to leave corporate America, and do this full time, and that was a huge leap of faith. We're talking huge, especially coming from somebody like me that has prided himself on having that security,
Yeah.
right, and having
Because
a
that's what we're taught.
that's what we were taught, exactly. And so I always made sure that we had, our food was on this table, our bills are always paid, kids have what they need, we have a roof over our heads, and everything being provided for, right?
So, how many deals have you done since you became a real estate investor?
I think we're at about 25 to 30 deals.
How many deals are you planning to get it done by the end of the year?
Well, we definitely want to increase our deals for sure. So I mean, our goal would be to get, we're in June now, yeah, so we would like to double that by the end of the year. That would be a stretch goal. But I like putting stretch
Deadlines
goals.
and
Yeah,
stretch goals.
because I think if you put the stretch goals in front of you, you have a target to try to reach.
Achievable because you have the power team, you know how, and you have the support. And how does that make you feel when you do say those numbers out loud that you have done that many deals?
It's surreal, because I look back at the beginning of this journey, and I remember just saying to myself, man, if I can just get that first check, that first paycheck, to make all of this, validated, and so I always go back to that moment, and I always remember that moment and saying, oh my gosh, it all started with that first deal.
Would you consider yourself that you are living the American dream now?
I would say so. Yes, I think a lot of people focus on the American dream being, oh, you go buy a house and, the white picket fence, and that's the American dream. I think for me, the American dream is much more than that. I think
What is the American dream for you? Because as you just said, American dream,
yeah,
not just for us immigrants, even for the people that was
yeah,
born and raised in this country. What is the American dream for me? It might be different for you, but
that's
what
right.
is yours?
Yeah, for me, it's time freedom. It's having the time to be able to do what I feel that God's called me to do, and what I feel like my purpose is in life. So my purpose is, my wife and I are actually a part of a marriage ministry. So our purpose is actually to help families continue to navigate through this world and be able to fight together, to stay together.
I think when the couple works together, and value each other and grow together, I think the possibility that they will be not just being together, but being happy together.
Right.
What advice that you have for anyone that wants to change their lifestyle as a real estate investor, and why would someone want to become a real estate investor? What would you say for those folks back then?
Yeah, really, it comes down to making a decision. It starts there. You have to decide, and because there's so many things that we want to do, so many opportunities that are out there. You can get lost very easily with so many different avenues. But real estate investing is just such a great avenue for us to leverage and to use that has been proven, right? And also being a part of a network like this, that you can do life with the like-minded people. Then really, once you make a decision, then all you have to do now is follow that up with discipline and consistency.
We could have decided so many other career. As you were having a full-time job, so was I. Why real estate? I know my why, but I'm here to tell your why. Why did you choose real estate between all the other options? Why real estate?
Yeah, real estate, because I mean, obviously, when I did research on what kind of passive income I could accomplish, what are the great investment avenues that are out there. One of the biggest thing that always came up with real estate. If you look at many of the millionaires that have been made,
80% the last time I heard.
have been made through real estate.
Do you use your money whatsoever in all those 30 deals that you mentioned? Have you ever used any of your money?
Nope. No, I have not.
Do you need a license?
No, I do not.
But this is where I'm like, anyone can be a real estate investor, and you don't have to have money.
That's right.
You don't have to, you just need to come and do it.
That's right.
And I do believe finding the power team, find the right
That's right.
network. Don't just pick any mentors, because if you get the wrong mentor, that can set you back.
Oh, yes. Yes.
How important it is to have the right network and the right
Yes.
mentor. That's how much your bank account is going to be
That's
worth.
very true.
How much is our network worth for you today?
Wow, it's everything. I mean, having not only great investors, right, that have been successful and that are showing you how to do it, how to make it. You have other parts of this network, attorneys, you have title companies, all of these different references that connect to this network across the entire state is just invaluable.
That's why I do believe having the mentor, but having the right mentor. Because a lot of people come to me, Olivia, I need you to be my mentor. And I'm like, no. First of all, I'm not there yet. Yes, anyone can be a mentor. But how far do you want to go? I would come to my mentor, because they are the one who mentor me.
Right.
Yes, I can mentor. But I'm like, that's where not the money is. I'm going to spend more time mentoring someone than me going to talk to 10 different sellers. And there is commercial, there is multifamily that I'm going toward. That's where the money is.
Right.
I don't want to spend my time mentoring you, because go get the mentors that mentor me to mentor you.
Right.
Because they've been mentored for 20 years. They have been proved that they mentor over 100,000 people.
Yes.
They made more than 1,000 into millionaires and multimillionaires. Those are the people that I wanted to mentor me. So for anyone that is looking for a mentor, look at who they are, where they have been, and how many people they actually have mentored and proven. Because it's not just reading the book.
Right.
It's taking action every day with the right people.
That's right.
Holding your hands through every single process.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, how many dreams have died because people chose the wrong mentor?
Hiring your mentor, choosing your mentor, I think is the biggest challenge, because how do you even know which mentor to decide? Just because someone sounds good on a stage, it does not mean he's the right mentor for you.
Right.
It's like find the right doctor for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Because finding that, you're going to be healthy all year long.
Right.
And if you find the right mentor, that's how much reflection you're going to have on your bank account.
That's right.
What would you say about our network? How often do you partner with our team, with our power team from our network?
Oh, I've partnered several times with several investors from our network. As a matter of fact, the most recent deal that I did is I actually assigned a property um, in Conroe, Texas,
Yeah.
and I got a hold of a big dog, and immediately, I mean, the big dog jumped over it. I got the contract on a Friday. By Saturday, I had it assigned to a big dog.
Let's do all that without saying big dog.
So this last deal that I actually got was working with somebody from the network. We actually got the contract on a Friday, and we assigned it to an investor from the network on Saturday.
So now that you have active all this success, what is next on your agenda?
Yeah, so for me, what's next is to continue to build our company, start hiring more personnel, and be able to really get to that scaling of our wholesale operation. But now, as we do that in parallel, now start working on holding some of these creative deals.
For you not to get scary, because everybody have that fear,
Right.
just delete some of the zeros and pretend is a residential. Because what it is not anything but all the zeros.
Okay.
Because what's the difference between a residential, multifamily, and a commercial? All zeros.
It's just zeros.
It's all the zeros. So it's
Okay.
just pretend like they're not there
Okay.
and treat them the same way you treat a residential. But the negotiation, the how you're going to instruct that
Yeah.
is very similar.
Okay.
And you have the power team. You don't have to do it alone.
That's good.
You can do it both.
Yeah.
You do not need to be like, oh, I'm just gonna do this box now, this
Right.
box. No,
You can do
put
it
them
all.
all in the box and decide which
Yeah.
octopus leg you're gonna use.
Right.
This part will be added out.
Okay.
Okay. Any final words on our interview? Would you like to say anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to encourage anybody that's out there that is thinking about, this vehicle as something that can provide an income for them. That it's totally possible. I think a lot of times we get so daunted by the fact that, okay, well, I need this or I need that before I can actually get into real estate investing. I've already discussed that
Yeah.
I didn't use any of my resources to get started. I didn't use any of my resources to do any sort of the funding for the projects, themselves. So, outside of the marketing and the tools that you need, of course, right? But with regards to that, this is a great avenue for somebody that wants to provide, time freedom, financial freedom for their families.
And who do you like to thank you for you to be here today?
Oh, of course, Phil and Shanoa, for sure. I'd like to thank you as well for reaching out. Really, I mean, I just was pleasantly surprised by the phone call. I love this network. I love what people are doing within this network and how we're all, helping each other out. And that I think that's the strongest thing that can come out of a community
Yeah.
is just how well people can work together. We might not always agree on every single thing or every single facet, but we're learning from each other, right?
Yes.
We're growing with each other. And so like I could sit here in this interview and learn so many, different things from you, right? Even it doesn't matter how many years, because you might have a specialized area, right, that I've
Yeah.
never tapped into. And so now it's like, okay, that's great, because now I can get some of your knowledge, right?
We
Gain some of
exchange.
exactly.
Who else would you like to say thank you?
Yeah, so I definitely want to thank my family for providing the support all these years. They've always been behind me. My wife, my children have always been supportive. Have always pushed me to be better. They have always pushed me to do what I've set out to do. I remember having a conversation with my oldest son, and I said, I said, I was going through these little waves of entrepreneurship as it can happen. And I started thinking like, oh my gosh, do I need to go back to corporate America? Do I need to go back to a W-2? And my oldest son looked at me and he says, Dad, don't do it. And I said, oh, really? I said, really? He goes, yeah, don't do it. He goes, you have this opportunity. He goes, we believe in you. So, and I was like really surprised by that, but I was really excited over the fact that I can get that type of support. Yeah, for sure.
How many of your family members are working with you in the real estate?
Yeah, so right now my wife is my partner. She's done a few little things, administrative tasks like that for us in the business, and I do have my youngest son working in the business as well. as my dispositions manager, and occasionally he does cold calling as well. So he's getting a taste of this real estate world, if you will.
How is it to have your 20 plus years old son bonding with you and be able to communicate with you and working together on something that you do believe
Right.
this is the right fit for the entire family? How does that feel as a father
Yeah.
to be able to work together with their son?
It's great. I mean, it's such an awesome feeling to be able to know that as you're learning and you're growing, now you're bringing along your son to see what it is that you see, right? And show them the lessons that you've learned and the possibilities that are there for them as well through this investment vehicle.
And when I talk to my kid, they're much younger than yours. They do bring value in because they have their younger vision
That's so
version
true.
of us
Right.
that you can implement to what we're
Right.
doing as well. So,
Right.
and the bonding with each other, because everybody gets busy,
Right.
and being able to communicate and speak the same language because we're working
Right.
on the network in the real estate together.
Mhm.
Bonding with our kids, I think is the best gift that we can give
That's so true.
back to them.
That's so true.
I think this is every parent's dream,
Yeah.
to bring their kids for the ride and
Mhm.
work together
Yes.
and getting to know each other
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the real world.
Yeah. And you go through these phases, right, as a parent. When you're raising your children, you go through these phases of, the baby phase and, the child phase and teenager phases, right? And then you get into the adult phase, and it becomes a completely different relationship, because now you're having conversations at an adult level, right? You're having, they're your kids still, but you're not going to talk to them the same way, anymore.
You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
And you don't need to,
right, and you-
because they
that's right.
bring in so much value to the table that
That's
I'm
right.
like, really? Are you really doing that or talking
That's
like
right.
that? So they do surprise us,
Mhm.
and it's
Yes.
beautiful to watch. And that's
That's
why
right.
I love the fact of bringing the family for the ride,
Yes.
because we grow together, we
Right.
bond with each other, and we get to know each other.
That's right.
So that's what I do love about the real estate. It's not just me,
Right.
it's everyone that is around me, including my family.
That's right.
Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come in and share your journey as a real estate investor. I can't wait to see you keep growing, and I'd love to interview your son next. So
Well, thank you
this
very
is
much.
awesome.
Thank you very much for having me, Olivia.
So thank
Appreciate
you.
it.